Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I wanted to talk about why, in my opinion, Minecraft shouldn't have a mob vote. If you're unfamiliar with the concept, the mob vote is something that started in 2017, where Mojang presented the community with 4 different mob concepts to choose from, only one of which would be added to the game in a subsequent update, and the others would be lost forever. After 2017, there would be a 3-year gap before we saw another mob vote in 2020, where we would once again be presented with a choice, though this time instead of 4 choices, there would only be 3. Every year since, the mob vote has become sort of a tradition for Minecraft, where every year, players debate on Reddit, YouTube, Minecraft Discord, and other forums which mob should be picked. In concept, this may sound like a cool idea, the ability for players to have a role in choosing what gets added to the game. After all, it does generate a lot of hype around Minecraft and gets more people interested in returning to the game that they may have put down for a while. Considering all this, I still think that at the end of the day, the mob vote is a terrible concept, and here's why. As many of you may know, Minecraft started off as an indie game in 2009, worked on by a very small team and originally released for free. But as time went on, the game got bigger and bigger, raking in millions of dollars. In its early days, the developers behind Minecraft, particularly Notch, took player feedback into account quite heavily when releasing new updates for the game, with some features being added simply because of popular demand. Eventually in 2014, Notch would leave Minecraft for good after the game was sold to Minecraft for $2.5 billion. The years following would mark a sort of dark age for Minecraft, with updates being extremely slow, and then when they finally would come out, many players found them to be lackluster in terms of content. Mojang was not listening to what the community wanted. They were adding random things in the worst ways possible. Take the 1.9 combat update, for example. It took literal years to release, and all it really did was overhaul a system that most people didn't have a problem with in the first place, and many considered the overhaul to be worse than the original system that we already had. And then it added this new section to the end dimension, which that's another topic for another day. I know for me personally, I took a massive break from Minecraft after 1.9 due to the low quality of the update. After lots of public outcry over this system, Mojang was mostly silent for years. Minecraft took a massive nosedive in terms of player population, and the amount of content being uploaded by major YouTubers was just not there, with a lot of them straight up quitting the game. Then in 2017, we got the mob vote, and in what in my opinion was the first time in years where Minecraft started to gain some form of mainstream popularity again. The conversation started to shift from, oh, Minecraft? You still play that game? To, hey, what mob are you voting for in the update? And the idea was an initial hit success, with players having massive debates over which mob was best and what area of the game needed the most additional content, due to the fact that each mob would spawn in a different area, where they had one for the nether, one for the forests, one for the oceans, and finally, one for the sky, the Phantom. All throughout the mob vote, and even to this day, players debated which mob was most important to add to the game. Many players felt that the oceans felt dead and empty. Others felt that the nether needed a new challenge, while some thought that it would be cool to have something lurking in the forests. But in the end, somehow all we got was a mob that forced players to sleep or risk being eaten alive by a swarm of angry bat things. Almost everybody was shocked at this. The thing that got the vote over the other mobs, I mean, look at these images and tell me that the other mobs don't look cooler than whatever this is. In my opinion, what the mob vote did was highlight a larger problem with Minecraft, in that was the fact that many of the areas of the game felt lacking, especially since Microsoft's takeover and Notch's departure. With the slow pacing of updates, the overfocus on Bedrock Edition, and just overall misplaced priorities, prioritizing profits over actually improving the game, the whole franchise was falling behind, and players wanted more. More stuff in the nether, more in the end, the forest, the caves, oceans, and mountains. Now, a lot of these biomes have been addressed in recent updates. For instance, in 2020, we got the Nether update, which completely overhauled the entire dimension. And in 2021, we got, well, half an update, but again, that's another topic for another video. But still, players desired more content, especially in terms of mobs. It gets boring fighting and farming the same things over and over and over again, especially when many of them we've been fighting for 10 plus years. So adding mobs to the game should be a top priority for Mojang, but for some reason it just isn't. Most of the updates we've gotten in recent years add only 1 or 2 mobs at best, and most of those mobs are ultimately inconsequential to overall gameplay. I mean, we got panda bears a few years ago. What am I supposed to do with those? Then there's dolphins, which are good for what exactly? You don't fight them, you can't tame them, and there really isn't much to do with them at all. Okay, what about the polar bears? Well, they attack you if you get too close to your young, but other than that, they just kind of stand there. They don't drop anything interesting. They're not part of any kind of quest or crafting recipe. They're just there, and they only spawn in like 1 or 2 biomes. Let me go further. In the old days of Minecraft, Endermen were added to the game. These large, spooky, tall black figures with purple eyes that would pick up blocks and teleport around the world that, if angered, they'd really mess you up. But if you were able to successfully kill one, there was a good chance you could get one of the coolest items in the game, the Ender Pearl, an item that allowed you to teleport across the map at the cost of a few of your hearts. Then, if you wanted to explore even further, you could make those Ender Pearls into the Eye of Ender that would lead you to and allow you to open a portal to the End Dimension where you would find a giant asteroid dotted by massive obsidian pillars and hundreds if not thousands of Endermen all guarding one final boss, the Ender Dragon. Isn't that way more exciting than what we've been getting recently? On the one hand, we had a new mob that was fairly simple, and the thing was, it didn't require the player to do anything differently. They didn't have to change the way they played the game like they do with the Phantom, where, the Phantom requires you to sleep. If you don't sleep, you get jumped by these things pretty much all night, and it's really annoying. Whereas the Enderman, it was there as an option. It was there as additional content that you could use, but you didn't really have to. But you could use it as far as you wanted and literally go to a different dimension. But we don't get mobs like that anymore. But I think we could. Imagine a game where instead of a mob vote, Mojang would just add all the choices of the vote to the game. Maybe not all at once, but over the course of, say, a year. They could even add one per season, with perhaps another mob coming in October, just in time for Halloween, while the underwater mob comes to the summer and kind of fits the beach theme. And then a forest mob could come in the spring. It would generate so much hype around the game and make it exponentially more fun to play, with the new content constantly being added. And you consider the fact that during Minecraft's critical years of growth, when it was growing from like 2010 to like 2013 or 14, this is what we had. We had more than one update a year. It often frustrates me how it takes Mojang so long to do anything, especially lately, with cut features, delays, and bugs that they know exist, but for some reason refuse to fix. In reality, I think that Mojangs themselves have something going on internally that's causing a lot of these problems, like the leadership does not know what it's doing, or maybe Microsoft is forcing them to have other priorities like chat reporting and adding microtransactions rather than actually improving the game. Like I said earlier, in 2014, Minecraft, and by extension Mojang, was bought by Microsoft, one of the biggest mega corporations in the world, so you can't tell me that there's no money to add in all the mobs. Right now, all the mob vote does is cause division in the Minecraft community, oftentimes leading large YouTubers into sort of competitions with each other, where they try to get their subscribers to vote for the mob that they want, and then at the end of the day it creates this really awkward, almost political polarization system in Minecraft that just shouldn't be there. It adds unnecessary tension. Add to this fact that historically the mob vote has always taken place on Twitter, which not everybody has a Twitter, and not everybody wants a Twitter. I myself don't have one, so therefore I can't participate in the vote unless I'm willing to make one. Now, I know that is changing this year, but why has it been that way for years? Why has it been that way that this vote takes place on a social media platform? Again, Mojang should have the resources to implement a voting system either in-game or in the launcher. After all, they spent plenty of time designing the in-game store to buy microtransactions, which brings me to my next point. Some people might argue, why do you care so much? Updates are free, so you have no right to complain. To which I reply, are they really though? Are they really? In the old days of Minecraft Java Edition, things like skins and texture packs were always free, and even in places where they were paid, such as on the Xbox 360 edition, they were cheap, whereas now they charge an arm and a leg for the most basic of things. So it's not like Minecraft's not making any money. It's not like Microsoft doesn't have the funding and this game's just a labor of love that they're just updating out of the kindness of their hearts just because. No, they're still making a profit off of this. And they choose not to add more content to it because it's simply drip-feeding the player-based content while forcing literally hundreds of microtransactions is seen as more profitable in the end. And it's an outright shame that this is the case, and in my opinion, it's also just poor strategy as far as attracting players, and if you attract more players, you'll have more money. Like I said before, imagine a game where we got updates every couple of months, like it used to be, where there would be cool mobs added and sort of mini updates. Well, once or twice a year, we got bigger updates. It would bring so many players back to the game, players that would be more likely to spend money on microtransactions. So, in the end, not only would this system benefit the players, but it would also benefit Mojang and Microsoft. But instead, we have what we have now, which is a brutally ineffective system where the large YouTubers have more power than the individual voters, and usually in the end, most players get what they want, or they don't get what they want, rather. I mean, the last mob vote, we got the glow squid. The glow squid. All it is a regular squid that glows. That's it. That has to be the laziest, most uninspired implementation of a feature that I've ever seen in a game. Now, I'm not saying the glow squid is bad by itself, but the fact that that's what we got out of all the choices, and that's all we got, and none of those other mobs are going to be seen again. They scrap those ideas. They won't add them in a future update, and it's frustrating to say the least. But that's my take on why we shouldn't have a mob vote anymore, and why Mojang should just add them all in. Like I said, they definitely have the resources, and they're not that hard. This is a game about blocks and, cubes. It's not like they have to do a massive 3D laser scanned model for every mob or something. I mean, you see modders add content faster than Mojang does at this rate. But again, that's another topic for another video. And it brings me to the end of this one. As always, thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed and comment below what you think about all this. Subscribe for more. I have been Broken Circle, and as always, have a great day and stay safe. Goodbye.